Please remember, the views and opinions expressed by this show or any other show on DV Radio and its guests are strictly those of said individuals and do not reflect those of the DV Radio staff, nor the staff of dysfunctional veterans.
Hello and welcome to the Service Dog Show with PTSDog. I'm your host, Joaquin Juatai, author of the book PTSDog, Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder and the Service Dog. I hope you're tuning in to listen to enlightening, educational, and informative conversations about life with service dogs and the Americans with Disabilities Act. Thank you for tuning in to the Service Dog Show with PTSDog right here on DV Radio, WDVR. Hello, welcome to the Service Dog Show with PTSDog. I'm your host, Joaquin Juatai. Thank you for joining us for the first show of the new year, 2019. And I wanted to take care of a very difficult subject right off the bat, get it out of the way so that we can look forward to better and brighter shows in the future. But I want to warn you right now ahead of time, we're talking about service dog mortality today. And this is going to be a very difficult subject. So please, if you need to, stop listening until you're ready. This is not going to be an easy program. And I know it's going to be as difficult for me as it is going to be for my guest. And it's going to be very difficult for you as the listener. However, I think it's very important that as a community, we face the fact that our dogs, our lifelines, our partners, our teammates, are also subject to shorter lifespans than ours. And at some point in any future, or in any service dog's career, you have to start considering losing that service dog, them passing on over the Rainbow Bridge, and how you're going to plan for that and deal with it when the time comes. Before we get into it, I want to remind you that you're listening to the Service Dog Show with PTSDog on DV Radio, WDVR, and you can check out some other shows. A great one is Contraband that airs on Saturdays once a month at 7 p.m. and then again at 11:30 p.m. after the flagship program of DV Radio, Barracks Talk, which airs on Saturdays at 9 p.m. Eastern. Check out Contraband if you get the chance. Keep looking for the podcast of the roundtable discussion. And if you have any ideas for a radio show on DV Radio, don't hesitate to contact the producer and the production team, DV Boner Wood, at info@dvradio.net with your ideas or thoughts, or if you know somebody who should be a guest. Without further ado, we're going to get into this. My guest today is Army Airborne veteran Ed Hunt, who is a Vietnam-era veteran, was in Vietnam from 1970 to 1971. Ed, thank you very much for joining me. And we've talked a little bit about this before we began recording, but I want to, again, thank you so much for helping me address a very, very difficult subject.
Thanks for having me.
So, just in a brief history for the listeners, you have been handling service dogs since before they were necessarily defined as being useful for PTSD. You were handling your first service dog, Bear, in the 80s. Were you not?
Yes, before it was cool.
Before it was cool. How long did Bear stay with you?
Bear lived to be 15.
Wow.
And at the time, it was a mobility issue.
Mm-hmm.
And Bear was, the last time we got to weigh him, he was 100 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And I know he was pushing 150 by the time he died.
Mm.
So it was, I like to go up the Appalachian Trail and stuff. And with working dogs, they can carry a third of their weight.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike the Army, where you carry half your weight.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was nice to let him carry everything, and I was able to bring extra beer when I went up. So, that was cool too.
Mm-hmm. Now, so Bear was with you when the ADA was passed in 1990. How did things change?
ADA was passed in 94, bro.
94. Okay.
Yes. And
it was written in 90. You're right.
Yeah. And I didn't know that, right now, by today's standards, he was a service dog.
Mm-hmm.
But back then, he was just my dog. Just like everybody else has a dog at home and they do stupid things and they ride around with you, and he was just my dog.
Mm-hmm.
But I found that he liked to do certain things, which kind of worked along with what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to learn from him what I needed. And then it just came to pass that he was my service dog.
Mm-hmm.
He was allowed in any store. If you seen Bear, you knew I was around. If you didn't see me and seen Bear, there was a good reason, and he would drag you back to me.
Mm-hmm.
So
he was if you had fallen or something, he would go get help.
Oh yeah, all my dogs.
Oh, that's fantastic.
My dogs. That's the first piece of training. I don't really suffer from Agent Orange,
mm-hmm.
but I still have some fucked up shit going on. And all my dogs, if I give them the command, they will go and find somebody in a uniform.
Mm-hmm.
Even the milkman,
mm-hmm.
The postman. They don't care. They will bring them back to me.
That's great. So now we talked about the difficult part. Bear lived to 15.
Yeah.
It sounds like with his weight gain as he became older, his activity levels dropped immensely.
Actually, no.
Okay, he just got that big.
No, that was his weight.
Okay.
I don't know what kind of dog he was, except big.
Huh.
I got him as a mutt.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as I know, he died as a mutt.
Mm-hmm.
But I just seen how he acted around people, how he acted around other dogs. He was chilled out no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
New Year's, all the fireworks going off. He just laid there. It never bothered him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there was nothing that you can do to really shake him up, unless you were a squirrel. Now, yeah, I got to point this out. That's that whole squirrel.
Mm-hmm.
And boom, he was gone.
Well, they're still dogs. No matter how well trained, they're still dogs.
And the squirrel is God's ball.
The tennis balls thrown by God.
Tennis balls thrown by God, yes.
So we need to talk about at what point in those 15 years did you realize that it was time to start working on a successor for Bear?
It was kind of fucked up, but I never did until the day he died.
Wow.
And he climbed up in bed. He put his head on my chest, and he just passed. And it took me a little while to really understand that he wasn't there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So with Bear, that really messed with me.
I can imagine.
Lost in a lost world. Didn't know how to act.
Mm.
But then there was a puppy that Bear was, there was a neighbor that had a German Shepherd,
Mm-hmm.
and it had puppies.
Mm-hmm.
And there was one puppy that Bear really, really connected to.
Mm-hmm.
That was my next service dog named Gizmo.
Okay.
So after Bear died, my friend gave me Gizmo.
Mm-hmm.
So in the beginning, it was, I don't know, I was lost. But Gizmo came around and showed me that my life didn't end.
Mm-hmm.
There was always going to be somebody else there for me. So Gizmo started to train me.
I think that's an important point. You lost your partner, you lost your best friend, but your life didn't end.
Right.
I think that's probably point number one that we need to share with the audience is, look, it's going to happen. Your dog's lifespan is shorter than yours. But
by 12 to 15 years, depending on the breed.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean that you end. There is, like you just said, Gizmo showed you there was somebody else there for you. And I think that's an important, I'm going to call that the first point in our conversation is, look, it is going to happen. Your dog will pass, but there's another dog out there.
Yeah. And it wasn't just a dog. I had a lot of good people around me.
Mm-hmm.
They seen what Bear did. Nobody really understood, but they seen how I was with Bear. And this is going back to a time where PSD wasn't even invented yet.
Mm-hmm.
So
Were they still calling it shell shock or
they weren't calling
battle
it
fatigue?
anything. They weren't calling it anything. It didn't happen. Ask the VA. It didn't happen. They didn't want to pay for this shit.
Right. Veterans were just crazy back then.
Mm-hmm. Crazy, drug addicted, baby killers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, but the neighbors all liked me with a dog.
Mm-hmm.
Because they kind of calmed me down a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
Yeah. I got the DD 214. I got the police records. I got the divorce, bankruptcy. I got all that shit down.
Yeah. So you started training Gizmo. How long was Gizmo with you?
Gizmo, I had him for 5 years, and then I hooked up with a Korean War vet.
Mm-hmm.
That for some reason Gizmo kind of went to him. And it was like, I was jealous at first.
Yeah.
Because, I was under that mistake that's my dog. But it's not my dog. That dog has its own feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing I can say is he needed Gizmo more than I did.
Yeah. I understand that.
So that's when I started to learn how to train dogs.
Mm-hmm.
So, he lived to be 19.
Wow. Impressive. Was he another large dog?
German Shepherd.
German Shepherd, yeah. That's really good for a Shepherd. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Didn't have any problems with the hip dysplasia or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But a lot of that has to do how you feed them.
Yeah.
As where Gizmo was the first dog that ate everything raw.
Mm.
Raw chicken, raw eggs, raw everything, raw meat. And come to find out later, that's considered a living diet
Mm-hmm.
and not this dead diet, dry canned food, stuff like that.
Yeah. So Gizmo went to the Korean War vet, and you began training dogs. So you talked a little bit about you were jealous.
Yes.
But what else were you feeling when you realized, look, Gizmo made a decision, and this guy needed him worse than you did? What was your thought process while you were going, well, now what do I do?
I had my late wife is when I first ran into her about that time. And she had a dog named Sandy. Sandy was this big ass Labrador retriever. And Gizmo and Sandy didn't get along together.
Okay.
Sandy was a attention slut. She had to be number one, as where Gizmo was going to lay back. Gizmo was going to let her do all the shit she wanted to do. So it kind of worked out in a weird sense, because Gizmo was only 2 doors away. We lived in Philly, and he was right there, so I could see him anytime. And this was back before I knew what a service animal was. Gizmo was just a dog. He did a job, and that was it. So it wasn't, like, this is my service dog. It was just a dog that, I was able to help another brother out with.
Right.
And that's what kind of woke me up. That's why I started helping other veterans with their dogs. Because 10% of the training for a service animal is the dog. 90% of the training is for the handler.
Wait, say that again for the people in the back who can't hear. You're exactly right. Say that again.
10% of the training for a service animal is for the dog. 90% of the training is for the handler.
That is so important. That is
a lot of people don't know that.
Well, and it really leads. This is a conversation I have on a regular basis with a small group of friends. There are 2 ways to train service dogs, well, 3 ways, but I'm gonna lump 2 of them together. You can go to an organization that trains the service dog fully for you, and they give you this, brand new shiny dog that knows all these commands. Or you can do it yourself or with an organization where you're responsible for the dog 24/7 and you take the dog to classes cooperatively.
Yes.
And when you are involved directly day in and day out with the dog and training,
that's your bond.
Build that bond. And that's what I can't get people to understand. It's frustrating to me is, look, a service dog is not a plug and play experience. You're not handed the keys to this bright, shiny new dog and away you go. No. And some of these big name organizations with huge budgets and lots of ads and stuff, they give 3 weeks of training, and maybe every 6 months or a year you get a little bit of refresher.
And it's a waste of time.
I
know of 2 veterans that got dogs, and I almost wanted to take the dogs off of them because they didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah.
Now these were $35,000 trained dogs, but they were being wasted on these veterans. A regular person that could talk to them and help them out would have been better than give them a service animal. Because they were forgetting that they need to eat. They were forgetting they need to go out to go to the bathroom. They need to exercise. They need companionship.
Yeah.
They need that connection.
Well, and I think that especially for a PTSD service dog, that bond is absolutely vital for the team to be successful in any way, shape, and form. If you are not, I call Skeeter my brother.
Yes.
I use the word bubber, but he's my bubber.
Yeah.
This dog and I, people look at me funny just at home. This dog is never outside of about 12 feet of me, usually within 6 feet of me. We are glued to the hip. We go everywhere together. We do everything together. When I don't take him, he tells me how upset he is because he knows that's where he belongs. You and I discussed this a little. I've been deer hunting and I don't take him in the blind because I can't get him to wear ear protection. It has nothing to do with his ability to handle going out and just laying in the blind and hanging out with dad for a couple hours. It's that I can't get him to wear ear pro. So if I do have the opportunity to take a shot, I don't want to blow his eardrums out,
Well,
it's purely to protect him.
You can find ear protection. I found a gas mask for Babe. We were protesting the VA in D.C. About how they treat the veterans and stuff. And Babe had a gas mask.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And she had ear protection too.
Yeah. I'm going to work with him on ear protection this year because I'd really like to have him in the blind with me.
And it's the same as if you put boots on them.
Yeah.
In the wintertime because, you want to protect their paws.
This dog has never worn boots. He's never needed boots. And we've lived up in the mountains and snowy mountains in Colorado. And
you got the breed for the snow.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's just built for it. And I know his successor is not going to be. But that's what we're talking about here on this episode of the Service Dog Show, is we're talking about our service dog's mortality and the ways that we can plan ahead of time to deal with the fact that our dogs don't live as long as we do. We will be right back after a short break. You're listening to the Service Dog Show with PTSDog right here on DV Radio, WDVR.
DV Radio.
I'm Dave Libby of WarriorService.org and SocerBand.com, and this is Contraband,
The Up in Arms Podcast.
This is Barracks Talk.
You're listening to The Marquee Dirty 30.
Hello and welcome to the Service Dog Show with PTSDog. I'm your host, Joaquin Juatai.
Hear all of these veteran-made shows on dvradio.net. From original to syndicated shows, they're all on the DV Radio Network. Don't forget to check out the schedule banner to find out when your favorite show is airing. Again, that's dvradio.net. And don't forget to search DV Radio on the TuneIn app on your mobile device.
DV Radio.
Nothing interesting on TV? That's why you're listening to dvradio.net WDVR.
This ain't reality TV!
It's all there, black and white, clear as crystal.
It was at this moment that he knew he fucked up.
Well, isn't that special?
Laddie, don't you think you should rephrase that?
Mama said that. Mama.
Good day, sir!
Now class is dismissed, gentlemen.
Welcome back to the Service Dog Show with PTSDog. I'm here with Vietnam veteran Ed Hunt, and we're talking about service dog mortality. So, like we touched on back in the last segment, you started working with veterans to train service dogs, and you hit on a very key thing, which is that 10% of the training is for the dog and 90% is for the handler. But we need to spin that discussion back towards the subject of the show, which is mortality and dealing with planning for the mortality of our dogs.
That's easy.
Well, fill me in. What's your thoughts there?
Here's what I learned. I have multiple dogs named Bear.
Mm-hmm.
Only because when they die, you're always looking for a bear.
Mm-hmm.
So what I started doing was letting Bear pick out his replacement.
Mm-hmm.
And his replacement was called Bear too. So every time I gave Bear a command, Junior would do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
He would look and he would do the exact same thing. So it's hard to explain it. But when somebody dies in your life, whether it's a 4-legger or a 2-legger, you find yourself calling those people, calling them by name, subconsciously. But with a 4-legger, if I was to say, Bear, come, I would have my Bear and his replacement that would both come.
Mm-hmm.
Now, people said it didn't make sense to them. But after they die, after Senior dies, Junior's still there. He's still using the name Bear. And he's just going to pick up where Daddy left off at.
Mm-hmm. I guess the question that brings to mind with your method is there the potential there to each dog is an individual and is has its own personality.
Yes.
So is there mix up? Is there confusion? I understand. I think I get why you did it, because when you're at your worst, you know one name to call, and that's Bear.
And that's all it's about, is my worst.
Mm-hmm.
The dog, like the 10% training, is going to step up. And if he's trained to know what I need him to do, then all I got to do is call him to do it.
Right. So your current service dog is not named Bear.
No, it wasn't supposed to be my service dog.
How'd that come about?
She was supposed to be for my granddaughter.
Mm-hmm.
We were in North Carolina, and she was being abused by a jarhead.
Mm-hmm.
And my granddaughter said, Pop, make him stop. So I made the jarhead stop. But now I got a dog.
Mm-hmm.
And I was originally going to train it for her. But shit happens, and they didn't want the dog back.
Mm-hmm.
So I trained Babe. She's a German short-haired pointer, high energy. Supposed to be the second worst dog behind a Jack Russell to train as a service dog.
Mm-hmm.
And I found a high energy veteran. So I trained her and him to be a team. Now he came up. He went through all the classes. She went through the canine good citizenship classes, and they just seemed like they were a perfect match. He picks her up, he drives away, and then she jumps out of the car doing 45 miles an hour and came home.
Wow. That's a little wild.
Had the fire department, the state police, the Appomattox Sheriff's Department, all looking for her. And we were using my house as a headquarters. Well, after about 4 hours, I cleaned shit up to take it out and throw it away. And there was Babe on the back porch. She was there the whole time.
Wow. So obviously she made her decision. She made her choice that you were her person.
They all do. Just like the one that left me for the Korean War vet, she made her decision that I was hers. That's why I say that you can't own a service dog. You can spend the rest of your lives with each other, but you can't own each other. It's like saying you own your wife or you own your kids.
Yeah, it's, and that's something I think that makes the possibility of mortality with our dogs so difficult is there are people who own dogs and it's just a dog.
Right.
And then there are people who, it may not necessarily be a service dog, but there are people who have that close, deep connection.
Family.
Yeah, and the dog is family, absolutely. And I'm not saying, oh, it's my fur baby, it's my fur kid, that kind of thing. I think that's a little bit ridiculous. But we understand that close connection, and especially for those of us who handle service dogs, we build a partnership. Skeeter is my partner. He's my teammate. I don't tell him what to do as often as he tells me, hey,
yes,
watch it, check yourself,
Yes.
We work together as a team. Like when we're going through the store, we have a constant conversation. I use words.
Okay.
Skeeter, he uses Skeeter language, pushes me, nudges me, stops when I think I need to be going, and looks at me and refocuses me. Skeeter gets me where I
need to be,
where my head needs to be.
Right.
And that's what, and it's so hard to explain to people that this is a partnership. It's a team. It's give and take. And
well, no, it's not that hard to explain, really. I like to explain it like, are you married? And if the person says, yeah, I said, so if your better half says you shouldn't do something, do you listen? Most times they say, yeah. Then you got some of my friends that give me a bunch of shit and say no. But basically, you always listen to the person or thing in your life that has your best interest at heart.
Yes. And that again falls back to the bond.
Right.
You have that deep, and there's no other words that can really describe it. You have that soul deep bond with your service dog.
Yes.
You listen to your service dog, and that gives you the ability to trust your service dog. And that's something I tell people is, look, there are times and conditions where I can't trust my judgment because of post-traumatic stress. But I can trust Skeeter's judgment to let me know, hey, what you're perceiving is not what's really happening.
Right.
So let me handle the situation. Watch me, and I'll get you through it because your brain's not working right at the moment. And it's not words, though. He's a dog. He doesn't use words.
No, but you can, when you're with somebody or something that long, you don't need words.
Yeah.
Now with Babe, And I got to say, she is the best. I'm at my greatest, I guess. But I just look at her and she reads my body language.
Mm-hmm.
She reads me. She knows if I'm in a bad mood. She knows it before I know it.
Yeah.
And she'll signal me, chill the fuck out, dude. It's, I don't know. She's 12 years old, and now I'm getting ready to have to move on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because I ain't got no choice.
Well, let's talk about that. What's your process? Okay, it's time. It's time. Babe's ready to retire. It's time to find another dog. What's the process that you have gone through in the past that you go through? How do you find that dog? That's where I'm stuck. Skeeter's 8 here in a week or two. He turns 8. And that's, for 100-pound, a little bit more than 100-pound Malamute, he is now a senior dog. If I get 12 years out of him, fantastic. If I get more than 12 years out of him, it'll be miraculous. But 8 is considered, for a dog his size, is considered a reasonable lifespan. So I have to be very realistic that I need to find a successor. I don't call it a replacement. Nobody could ever replace Skeeter. But somebody can succeed him. Somebody can take over where he leaves off when the time comes.
Let him pick it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's what I do. I'm getting ready. I've been putting it off.
Me too.
But I need to take her around to the pounds in the neighborhood and let her find her. I call her a replacement.
Yeah, it's
okay. You call her a secessionist. So,
well, it doesn't. Whatever the word is, isn't necessarily as important as. I think it's important that we understand. Nobody's ever going to be Skeeter but Skeeter.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's ever going to be Babe but Babe. However, no matter what the name of the dog is, you can find a dog that's able to pick up where the prior one left off.
When Babe picks her replacement out, it will be called Babe.
Mm-hmm.
I learned this a long time ago because that was the most confusing, fucked up part of my life. Was when I got a new dog and kept on calling it Gizmo or calling it Bear or calling it whatever.
Well, and I think using the same name helps remove the confusion from the dog. Because if you're calling the dog George, but you keep calling Gizmo, George isn't responding.
Right. But it's not for them. This is for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's for my mental health because I'm the one that's fucking up. I'm the one that's confusing them. But in my confusion, I'm going to call for Babe.
Right.
And Babe's going to be there. But when she does pass, I'm still going to be stuck on that Babe. And I have another dog that answers. It's not like I'm calling Babe and Alice or whatever it is, whatever its name is. So this is how to put this the right way. This is to stop the confusion in my head, not the confusion in the dog's head.
Right.
See, this helps me. And because I'm still using the same name, it's almost like they're still here. Does that make sense?
I get that. I don't necessarily agree, but that's what works for you.
Yes.
And you know what? I think that's what's important. And it's something we keep missing as a community when we're talking about the way the ADA is written and things. Is the word individually, the phrase individually trained.
Right.
is used multiple times in the language in the ADA.
Yeah.
And you know, in any legal document, when you use a word or phrase repeatedly, that implies that that is an important factor.
Yeah.
Individually trained. That one dog is trained to perform specific tasks for one person. And what one person's tasking and needs are completely different from what another person's tasking and needs are. There are certain basic behaviors that we want all service dogs and really all pets to be able to perform. You know, you need to be able to ignore food dropped on the floor. You need to be able to heel, sit, stay. You know, but that's not tasks. That's general behavior.
Right.
It's specific behavior that is individually trained. That is what makes the service dog unique to the disabled handler. And people they gloss over that. And
a lot of people don't really understand.
What works for you and Babe might just look ridiculous to me and Skeeter. But that's really doesn't matter to me because it's working for you. You know?
Yeah, but the thing okay. Never mind. I was going on a little tangent here because I had a little problem the other day. It was in a store, Walmart.
Of all places, the most horrible place for service dogs.
Christmas.
Well, there's your mistake. You were last minute shopping.
No, I wasn't shopping for. I needed beer. So I brought her in. Everybody wanted to pet her. And
I know this story.
And it was, now, I'm a rotten person. I taught Babe how to smile. So
how big is she? I'm not familiar with her breed. How big is she?
70 pounds.
Oh, okay. So she's a respectable sized dog.
I need her for mobility.
Gotcha.
That's her job.
Understood.
But all my service animals, I train them all to smile. And they'll sit there, they'll show their teeth, they'll wag their tail. It looks horrifying if you're on the wrong end of the smile. But all she wants to do is love on you. So it was like, I'm in Walmart, I turn around, I tell Babe, watch him. And then she sits there in the prettiest stance, and she starts to smile. Shows all those pretty teeth. And this lady says, does she bite? And I turned around and I said, no, she swallows whole. And she's hungry. She left. For some strange reason, she grabbed her kid and decided that she no longer wanted her kid to pet my dog.
Oh my God. I don't recommend training your dog to do this, listeners, but this is hilarious.
Oh, no. Training a service dog to be a guard dog and stuff, that's not right.
Right. That's what
I believe in. If you can't dazzle them with brilliance, baffle them with bullshit. You know, you want your kid to pet my dog. Okay, wait 1 minute. Babe, watch them.
I have to say, that's the most unique solution to unwanted petting, and behavior from the general public. That's so much more entertaining than, patches that say "fuck off, leave us alone" and stuff like that.
I tried that. Nobody listens.
Nobody reads anymore. If it's not blinking at them on a phone screen, they can't pay attention to it.
We're on DV radio right now. I have the shirt. Okay? Dysfunctional veteran. Leave me alone.
Yep.
Bitches still come up and say, hey, I like your shirt. What part of that shirt don't you understand, bitch?
Yep. I hear you.
So it's, you know, every handler has to deal with what they need. They have to deal with what they're ready for. They have to take into consideration, you know, just the facts of life and what it's like out there.
Absolutely agree.
If you can keep I don't know, Babe enjoys it when I tell her to smile. She does. Because
she's in on the joke.
Yes, she's going to get petted. It stops it. You know, why fuck with people when you don't have to?
And that's really the bottom line is, yeah, I have a dog right here. That's my service dog. The dog's helping me. So why mess with me? Why are you, you know, you're not talking to my cane or to my wheelchair or to a prosthetic, but you're going to talk to my dog, you know?
Yeah, and it's like everybody thinks they know better than you.
Oh, don't even get me started. I literally wrote the book. The book that I wrote.
Yeah, I know. I read the book. I read the book. But it's like, you know, it's the summertime. Babe's got her tongue out. She's panting, but it's not a I'm dying of thirst pant. This is just a normal, hey, I'm happy, I'm enjoying this shit pant. But everybody thinks she needs water.
Mm-hmm.
Or everybody thinks she needs food. And it's like, dude, I know her better than you do. And they're like, oh, no, you don't. I've been around dogs all my life. And it's like, service animals? No, but it's the same thing. And it's like, you retarded motherfucker, leave me alone. You know, I mean, people just don't understand.
They don't, which is, you know, this is why we're doing a radio show, why we're recording a radio show right now. I'm trying
to follow your page.
I'm trying to help people understand as best I can. And, you know, honestly, I didn't understand until I started training a service dog. I didn't get it. And once I started to get it, I started to understand why I didn't understand. And, you know, and that developed into, okay, well, let me see if there's some books about it out there, you know, and there weren't.
No.
You know?
You wrote the only book, by the way.
Well, there's more coming, as you know.
I know.
But yeah, it's just, you know, people need to understand. And what I did was say, well, I've got the training. Might as well put together the tool that the handlers can use. It's the handbook. And I didn't intend it to be, but I've had more than one veteran say, this is the handbook right here. This is what you need to know. This is the handbook for how to handle, you know, everything you need to, you know, all the questions you wanted to ask but didn't even know you knew are in this book.
Yeah.
But yeah, people don't get it. People don't understand. They see, they see you come in with a service dog and it's, oh, well, it's so cute, you know, and I, you know, especially when we're using a larger dog, which you cannot help but notice when a 75, 85, 105 pound dog walks into a store or a restaurant. Yes, people notice. Absolutely. Yeah. And you have to understand that you need to be able to deal with that. And if you can't, maybe service dog's not the best route for you.
No, it's the people that are the biggest problems, not the dogs or the handler.
Yeah.
It's the people not understanding, and I'm afraid to say that all the people that do need to know this shit don't give a fuck to learn.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're absolutely right. And it's really frustrating with kind of this American society's developed this entitlement mentality. And I don't care who you are. I don't care if it's the president. If you approach me with the attitude that you're entitled to interact with my service dog, you're not going to touch my dog.
Yeah.
If you are polite and again, it's a service dog there to assist me with a disability. And there are bad days. I have bad days where it's like, I'm sorry, we're working, and I keep moving. I put blinders on and just keep moving right past them. But most of the time, if a person approaches and is polite, I go out of my way to stop and allow special needs children to interact with Skeeter. He grew up with 2 autistic boys. And, he's so gentle, and you would think, I've had people, oh my God, there's a wolf in here. You think this big, scary 100-pound wolf would just bowl over a kid. And he just it's never not been that he is just as gentle and calm and so sweet to a special needs child. And, it makes my heart feel warm to see how beautifully my dog interacts with these kids that have the special needs. It's visible that they have some disability. And I had a really touching experience at Walmart not too long ago with a lady with probably about an 8 or 9-year-old girl who had severe epileptic seizures. And she was just so fascinated by Skeeter. And it was a treat. I asked if Skeeter could introduce himself to her daughter, and she said yes. And it was just delightful to see how her little face lit up. Skeeter, I don't know if Babe does this, but when Skeeter knows he done good, he preens, he prances, he's regal about it,
Yes, heads up, ears back, yes.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Look at me, look how awesome I am, and Skeeter does that. He coos, he crows, look at me, look at how cool I am. I can do this, and it's just it's a treat for me when it's few and far between, but when we have the opportunity to have those kind of positive educational interactions with other people. I don't care that I'm in Walmart and there's 99% of the people in there want to be intrusive and it doesn't matter because that one shining bright moment. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, Ed, I want to thank you so much for addressing a very difficult subject with me, and we've covered a lot of ground, and we've covered some interesting points. Folks, your service dog will not last as long as you do. You need to think about it. It's something we need to have open discussions about as a community, as handlers. We need to understand, especially for those of us who are handling larger dogs and using them for heavy mobility kind of tasks. They wear out their bodies wear out just like ours do. And we need to think about it. It's hard to think about, but we don't have to let the thought beat us up. And Ed, I want to thank you for, you've got a refreshing and different point of view about it from anybody else.
That's why they call me Special Ed.
Well, I want to thank you because, you've given me some things to think about because I am facing Skeeter's mortality. I'm facing the fact that he is a senior. And it's time, I've seen that he's slowing down a little and he's got the aches and pains that, well, they reflect mine, quite frankly. He's as grumpy and groany and his hips are stiff just like mine get. Yeah. No, he does not have hip dysplasia. He has been checked out, folks. I don't want any lashback. I take very good care of my dog, but you know what? He's a senior, large breed dog, and they break down just like we do. They get tired just like we do.
Oh, yeah.
And it's now that I've come to that point in time where I need to start looking for his successor, and that's my word, and you use replacement and whatever works for each of us. I need to look for the dog that's going to step in and pick up where he's eventually going to leave off. And
my suggestion is you let him pick him out.
I like that idea. I really do. And here's why. I used to breed Malamutes, okay? And Skeeter does not like puppies.
Right.
4 times Skeeter picked a puppy out of the litter who he tolerated, and more than tolerated, but was like, oh, you're kind of cool. All 4 of those puppies I donated to a disabled veteran to train as a service dog.
Yes.
Unfortunately, one of them left us and joined the 22, but the 3 other pups that I donated are actively working with disabled veterans as their service dogs. and that is extremely rare for an Alaskan Malamute. This is not a common breed for service dog.
No.
So to have that kind of a record where Skeeter helped me pick 4 dogs to give to veterans, and those dogs
pick yours.
Yeah,
don't be stupid. I know you were in the Navy and you know it all, and but you gotta let that shit go, bro.
The more I learn, the less I realize I understand.
That's it. There you go.
Well, Ed, thank you so much for joining me. We've been talking with Ed Hunt here on the Service Dog Show with PTSDog, right here on DV Radio, WDVR. Welcome to 2019. Thanks for listening. Thank you for supporting PTSDog on Facebook, for buying the book, PTSDog, Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder and the Service Dog. It is available at booklocker.com, amazon.com, and barnesandnoble.com. We've had a lot go on over the last year, and I'm looking forward to a 2019 of working on the second PTSDog book and helping grow the community with positive education, information, and guests like Ed who are able to bring a new perspective or a different perspective to the conversation as we move forward in our lives with our PTSD service dog. Thanks once again for joining. This is PTSDog signing off right here on DV Radio. Out. WDVR.